So, State Department confirms that the suspect killed by troopers after the I-495 stabbings was a Foreign Service officer. Very interesting. In Fairfax County, Virginia, the man who was shot and killed by Virginia State Trooper after allegedly stabbing 4 people and a dog. And a dog? They didn't tell us that before. On I-495 in Fairfax County on Sunday was a Foreign Service officer, according to the State Department. The incident was reported around 1:20 p.m. Saturday on the southbound lanes near exit 52 in Fairfax County. A Virginia State Trooper was called to the scene for a report of a road rage incident. When the trooper arrived on the scene, he was confronted by a male suspect who was carrying a knife. The trooper then shot the suspect in self-defense. The suspect, identified as 32-year-old Jared Yamaldo, I don't know how to pronounce that, was taken to a hospital where he later died. The trooper was not injured. 4 stabbing victims were located at the scene. Michelle Adams, 39, of Fairfax, succumbed to her injuries. A dog was also stabbed and has since died. The other 3 victims were 36-year-old female, a 37-year-old female, and a 40-year-old female. How in the fuck did this man manage to only stab women after getting into a car accident? They were all taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Officials say the stabbings happened following a crash on the interstate, and the crash remains under investigation. A State Department spokesperson issued a statement to Fox 5 saying, "We are aware of the tragic accident that involved a Foreign Service officer and occurred on Sunday, March 1st in Fairfax County, Virginia. We extend our deepest condolences to all those affected by this tragedy. As this is an ongoing investigation being led by the Virginia State Police, we refer you to them for details about the incident." Police say that this incident is not believed to be terrorism related. Well, I just don't believe police when they say that initially anymore. According to the State Department, Foreign Service officers are charged with advocating for American interest and helping shape global policy. Interesting. These individuals work with foreign governments to further the economic, political, and humanitarian causes in the interest of the U.S. There are 5 Foreign Service officer career tracks. They include consular officers, economic officers, management officers, political officers, and public diplomacy officers. Here's a quick breakdown of those offices per the State Department. Consular officers protect and serve U.S. citizens abroad and facilitate legal travel to the U.S. for foreign visitors. Interesting. Economic officers promote U.S. prosperity, strengthen scientific energy, health, and technological cooperation. Management officers lead embassy operations from logistics and staffing to property and budget. Political officers analyze current events and advocate for U.S. policy positions and manage programs. Public diplomacy officers connect with global audiences to build mutual understanding and support for U.S. policy. I was going to ask what a Foreign Service officer was because I couldn't tell if they were saying he was like a foreign military personnel or if he was someone on our side who did like foreign outreach. So it sounds like someone in the U.S. who's a U.S. citizen who does foreign outreach in some capacity. But what would cause this foreign outreach guy in some capacity to start fucking randomly stabbing people on the highway? Any military rank from lieutenant and up or political? You never get ahead if you don't rock the boat, I guess. A baby bitch burger! True. He said, "Today we're revising our creator revenue sharing policies to maintain authenticity of content on timeline and to prevent manipulation of the program. During times of war, it is critical that people have access to authentic information on the ground. With today's AI technologies, it is trivial to create content that can mislead people. Starting now, users who post AI-generated videos of an armed conflict without adding a disclosure that it was made with AI will be suspended from creator revenue sharing for 90 days. Subsequent violations will result in a permanent suspension from the program. This will be flagged to us by any post with a community note or if the content contains metadata or other signals from generative AI tools. We will continue to refine our policies and product to ensure X can be trusted during these critical moments." And I think this is a very, very good thing to do. If people are posting things from like War Thunder and Arma and people are believing the video game is real life, I don't think there's any helping those people. I feel like those are the people who might need their voting rights taken away though. Cause like, what the fuck? Talking about authenticity is easy, but why is showing fairness so difficult? Indian creators work 12 to 14 hours a day creating research-based original content, yet our reach is capped at a few thousand impressions. This is a troll, right? This is actually a troll, right? Yet our reach is capped at a few thousand impressions. Meanwhile, some foreign accounts post only an emoji or low-effort content and get millions of views and massive engagement. And what do we get? Spam detection, artificially low impressions, constant pressure of rules and regulations, account suspensions, revenue sharing pauses. I don't think there's anyone spending 12 to 14 hours a day posting on Twitter.
Flashback. End of flashback.
And I feel like if you are, something has gone significantly wrong in your life. Like, I can't think of a single person that should be posting that long. Bint? Well, yeah, but Bint is severely mentally ill, obviously. Nobody normal is gonna spend that much time on fucking Twitter. Stopping misinformation during wartime is important, but why does enforcement feel selective? Suspensions in the name of AI disclosure, yet no accountability for algorithm bias. If the platform is truly global, why are Indian creators treated like second-class participants? Did this person forget all of the, like, ways that exploiting the creator program payouts was used last year? Hard work gets penalized, shortcuts get promoted. What kind of system is that? Transparency shouldn't exist only in policy statements. It must be visible in the algorithm too. Without fairness, how can there be trust? This is the weirdest post. Classic reaping sowing moment. Abso-fucking-lutely. What the hell? When are we gonna get the option to just turn off seeing any posts from certain countries, you know? Like, I don't know. But either way, I thought it was a good idea to start having repercussions for, like, sharing AI stuff and making it seem legitimate. And you know how I said people gonna make mistakes, bro? There were a bunch of accounts sharing a tweet. And I was like, oh shit, that's kind of fucking weird. I'm also gonna share this tweet. Sky News, but it was from 2018. Why are there a bunch of other accounts sharing a tweet from 2018? Making me think, oh, this is like a new thing. Like, yeah, also it's on me for not reading the date, but like, what the fuck? What the fuck, bro? Former Vogue editor and Mamdani's stylist, Gabriella Carefa Johnson, downgraded herself from first class to business class because everyone else in first class was white.
That's racist. Damn.
And I'm just like, I'm not really sure what level of racism someone has to be on to do this, because that just seems wildly crazy to me. It also seems a little weird that a socialist mayor of New York City has a dedicated stylist. That also seems a little weird. So she said, I just downgraded myself from first class to business class on my flight to Milan. Oh. In a cabin of 6, 5 of the passengers were white middle-aged men. And then there was me, a 30-something black woman who travels in that cabin often, and a male flight attendant who thought I'd be okay with substandard service and persistent microaggression from the moment I sat down. He was wrong. I don't suffer fools, and I would sacrifice physical comfort to protect my emotional and mental well-being any day. I don't think any of the people who were in first class would have even, like, acknowledged your existence. They're probably, like, just gonna sleep or do business things for the entire flight. Anti-racists always go all the way around to become full racists. At first, it was segregation is bad, but now segregation is good. Horseshoe theory is always correct. And it's like, I don't know. Will we start seeing leftists asked to repeal, whatever it is that, like, forces us to engage with everyone? She now wants to create a space for black people in public transport. I don't know. I don't know. Someone said, I'm sorry you had to do that. You deserve to be anywhere and everywhere. They belong in economy. What do you mean by white men belong in economy? If they had the money to pay for it, they're, like, entitled to their ticket. So, like, are you advocating to prevent white men from being able to buy first class tickets? What kind of racism is this? And then Gabriella replied, hard agree. It's just such a bummer that humiliation is part of the gratification for racists. Protecting my peace felt like letting him win, and I hate that. I don't think any of them even thought of this woman. What does she mean? White men need to pay for her ticket. I have no fucking idea, but it's really weird. They're all clearly racist. It's very clearly racist, but they will say you can't be racist to white people. This one, I got so fucking confused on this. So this tweet said, Ray went live last night breaking down in tears after paying Cenat $40,000 per month all of 2025, and now he only has 4K to his name, and Kai unfollowed him on Instagram. I'm literally going broke right now and Kai won't even help me. I can't believe it. He ruined my life. This community note was not here when I retweeted it because I read this and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Hasn't Kai Cenat been like gone for a couple of months because he's like learning to read or something? So I was scrolling through the comments trying to figure out like what the fuck is going on. And Grok had answered a couple of people and said, Ray, 20-year-old Taiwanese streamer, ex-Ray Asian boy, joined Kai Cenat's Clover Boys squad after Kai discovered him streaming in Japan 2023. Collabs exploded Ray's fame and earning. Ray claims the 40k a month was his agreed cut or share back to Kai for the 2025 mentorship and boost. Numbers vary by clip. Sometimes it's quoted as 20 to 25k. Recent fallout, possibly woman-related drama. Ray says he's now down to 4k and Kai unfollowed him and won't help. Kai is silent, no receipts on either side. Classic streamer money beef. And it's just like, well, we used to joke about having to pay for collabs. So this is just really weird. And then eventually a community note came along and a community note said, this is not remotely factual. This is clickbait. This came from a live stream last year. So the clip that they posted was
Kai make me, bro.
Kai make me, bro.
Bro, I will be blessed, gang. Like, he dad saved my life, bro.
Oh boy, the beginning of that one's kind of hard. So the first sentence he's saying, you know, Kai made him, right? Like, Kai made his career. And then...
Bro, I will be blessed, gang. Like, he dad saved...
Bro, I will be best gains, I think. He might be reading something in chat.
My life, bro. My mom sent text...
Bro, Kai saved my life, bro. My mom...
To me, bro.
My mom texted me.
My mom sent me a long text.
I don't know about the tax. I don't know what that means.
Birthday.
Is this like a phantom tax joke before it became a joke? I don't know what that means.
Hey. She said, she just said she does appreciate for Kai, bro.
She asked people to appreciate Kai, bro, I think.
Damn, he shit made me want to fucking cry, gang. Kai.
I'm not exactly as proficient at the Chinese Ebonics as I am the regular Ebonics. You know, it takes a bit to get new accents down. You need less subtitles when you watch anime. Motherfucker, English!
English, motherfucker! Do you speak it?
Vladimir Crystal, thank you. Are you so bored that we need to post stuff from last year? And sure, more people need hobbies. Well, like, this was March 1st, 2026, and they, like, I guess created a whole narrative specifically to make, like, drama, which, like, holy fuck. That's really retarded. Clip is from last year. This is Ray thanks Kai Cenat for always supporting him 4 months ago. This was like right before Kai went on his vacation thing.
Shout out Daddy Kai, bro. When LeBron come, Kai wear my clothes on purpose, bro. When Kai hit 1 mil, he wear my shit on purpose, bro. Everybody say W Kai, bro. If I got a Kai to save his life, I'll that good.
That's sweet. That's sweet. And then there's another link here, which I'm guessing is the source for that first clip that this account posted. This is the moment Ray and his mom thanked Kai Cenat for saving their life.
Kai make me,
4 months ago.
Bro, I will be blessed, gang. Like, he dad saved my life, bro. My mom sent text to me, bro. Said long ass text. My mom said
no ass tax, by the way. I feel like they're technically correct when they say last year because it was 4 months ago, but you kind of get a different frame of reference when you say last year versus 4 months ago, you know? At least Ray can't annoy Mouse anymore if he fizzles out. Wait, this was one of the people that was talking to Mouse? I don't remember that at all. But it's like, why would you do this? Why would you try and, like, create issue? And I mean, I guess it brings views, right? But, like, I don't think I would really like to get a bunch of people coming to my stream asking me about this versus just, like, normal engagement, I guess. Top tweet. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of those, like, I'm selling my Instagram thought kind of things. I have no idea what's going on because I think a lot of these like weird representation things Twitch does are simply for virtue signaling, and I've never heard of anyone who's a part of any of the identity guilds on Twitch anyway. But apparently for International Women's Day, Twitch rivals decided to celebrate by having people play a cooking game, Overcooked 2, and I guess some people got really mad that the game picked for International Women's Day was a cooking game. And this just kind of makes me feel like maybe women like cooking games as I sit here with my omelet game. So Yeet said, Kiwi on the Sticks, who's a Twitch ambassador, clarifies Twitch Overcooked 2 choice for International Women's Day. Says the guild itself voted for the game. Part of supporting women means letting women do what they want. Man, I wish we could have done that before feminists fucked it up for all of us. Which just might be playing Overcooked sometimes. So Twitch Rivals saying, let's celebrate International Women's Day together. Women's Guild United presented by Honda on Twitch Rivals. First of all, why do we have a Women's Guild on Twitch? Second of all, why is it sponsored by Honda? Those are some questions I have. And then this Kiwi person said, the Women's Guild voted for the Women's Guild events game, and y'all hopped straight on Twitch hating bandwagon to call them sexist. Part of supporting women means letting women do what they want, which just might be playing Overcooked sometimes. Letting women make choices is the point. Having to prove women have rights by forcing them to play Call of Duty would be weird. This is what they want to do. Let them. Besides, have y'all even played Overcooked? One of the most fun multiplayer games out there. I don't think I particularly like Overcooked, but I think that's just because my flavor of autism doesn't really enjoy friend slop very much. Shouldn't Subaru be sponsoring the Women's Guild, you know? Not gonna lie, good response. It is a good response, but you also have to remember the source of where the response is coming from. So it's a little ironic that somebody who wants to segregate into different identities by even having a women's guild is like, yeah, part of it is just letting them do what they want. Which, like, yeah. We don't really need identity politics to let us do what we want. It's actually identity politics that has removed some rights from us. PSA, the 3 police officers that heroically stopped the Senegalese mass shooter that opened fire on a bar in Austin, Texas, are being forced to stand before a grand jury to consider whether or not charges should be brought against them for stopping the shooter. Apparently, due to a criminal justice reform organization called the Wren Collective,
Flashback.
unearthed emails show left-wing group quietly writing policies for progressive DAs. No billing and no publicity. Pro-police group claims Wren Collective has influenced policies and messaging across the country. And this guy who posted this said, Irina Zarutska's dead because of bad policy that seemingly spread to every major city all at once. Why and how? Obviously, Soros DAs play a huge role, but there's more.
End of flashback.
The DA is required to consider charges every single time a police officer uses force. Per Douglas O'Connell, the DA completely controls the grand jury and decides what evidence they see and what they're prohibited from seeing. These officers should be hailed as heroes, not only for their incredibly fast response time, 57 seconds, but also for risking their lives to take down this shooter. You saw this? It's absolutely absurd that they're being forced to stand before a grand jury. It's incredibly absurd. And it just goes back to, once again, people doing heroic things is seen poorly because our society is fucking diseased at this point. Texas cop here. In Texas, it is standard practice to take all police shootings before a grand jury, pretty boilerplate, and most are no billed. It serves to help clear the officer and prevent any future radical DAs from indicting and prosecuting them. The big problem here, though, is that the DA is a radical and hates police. At CLEAT has to fight him constantly. So that does seem like, if this was originally put in place to essentially show that officers were in the right for using a heightened tier of force, I feel like that could have also been misused in certain cases. But if it's in control of a activist DA, it's obviously not going to be used for any unbiased things in the future. Boston City Council just voted 9-4 to hide whether the ICE detainers they ignored involved illegals charged with crimes. Their reason, they didn't want to give oxygen to a false narrative. Boston police ignored all 57 detainer requests last year. Every single one. You know, 57 in a year doesn't really seem like a lot for a city like Boston, and yet they still chose to ignore them. That's crazy.
Would anyone like to add their name? Councillors Coletta Zapata, Councillors Durkin, Fitzgerald, Louis-Jean, Mejia, Pepin, and please add the chair. Oh, Councillor Worrell. Councillor Webber and Councillor Culpepper seek suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 0427. All those in favour say aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you. Mr. Clerk, could you please take a roll call vote on docket 0427, please?
Councillor Braden.
That went really fast too. What the fuck? What the fuck was that count? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's amazing how banal it is for them to be approving further innocent people suffering. It's because they don't care. They don't care. And there's nothing that's going to really make them care. They just need to be voted out of power. Unless people get their asses in gear and notice the law enforcement institutions that these councils need to be arrested for trying to hide their own criminal breaches of the law. You talking about the Wren Collective thing? Here's an example of some Dominican fentanyl dealers who shot at cops in rural Maine after they were released by Massachusetts because Massachusetts doesn't honor detainers. This was last week. That's kind of fucking awful. Why would they need to hide them if it's a false narrative? Also a good question. A very good question. I doubt we'll get any answers, unfortunately. This lady also thinks people need to be redacted, but she kinda crazy, so she misses the mark.
And literally, if you have any part to play in the American military industrial complex, literally, fuck you. I hope you never make it home. I'm so serious.
What a weird thing to say to American soldiers currently trying to take out terrorists. Send her to Iran! You hope they never come to your defense when you need it, ma'am? Yeah, like, that's a wild thing to say. That's pretty fucking weird. Not even when police officers were just, like, going crazy protecting the elites and not the actual American citizens they're supposed to serve all throughout COVID and all throughout all of the, like, Black Lives Matter banners and shit being painted everywhere. Even then, I was just like, yeah, these police aren't here for you, bro. Don't count on the police. I never said anything should happen to the police, because that's kind of wild to think. Knight Media's CEO wrote an article on Twitch Viewbotting, and I was like, I recognize the Knight Media name, because I think that's, like, the talent agency that manages, like, both Asmin and Hassan, if I'm not mistaken. But, this guy's name is Reed, and apparently he's Knight Media's CEO, and he's got, like, a little clip of, the peanut guy down there, and he said, "What does it take to cut through all the noise on the internet? If everyone else is botting, why shouldn't you? We used to live in a world where if you made great content, algorithms would find an audience for your videos. Now, creators have to clip farm, pay clippers, and sometimes even viewbot to have a better chance of capturing more attention and breaking through the noise. This is especially true on platforms like Twitch, where viewbotting can surface you on the front page of popular streaming categories." Twitch has been dealing with this for years now. A post from Devin Nash sums it up well, and he even goes on to say that there's no real downside to botting your stream if you're in the top 500 creators. Back in August of last year, we did see a crackdown on bots, and I hope that trend continues for the foreseeable future. Clearly, this is happening again, and bots are finding ways to go undetected. My belief, echoed by XQC, is that they don't care to enforce this. The more views there are, the better things look for advertisers. If everyone else is doing it, should you? I would never explicitly say that you should bot your views on Twitch, other than in this title of this article. But the reality is, if you're not view botting and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. When you're competing in a category where you're buried if you don't have 500 plus viewers, maybe shifting your strategy to paying clippers and buying bots helps a streamer break through. I wanted to see what it would cost to bot a stream, and for $180 a week on Viewbotter, I can get 1,500 followers, 225 quote-unquote chatters, and 750 concurrent viewers. Not bad for less than $800 a month. And these companies accept crypto payments. Is there any way to detect viewbotting? From what I've researched about detecting viewbotting, even Dan Clancy, the Twitch CEO, has mentioned that detecting bots is a cat and mouse game. When allegations start surfacing online, streamers are left to state their case and prove that their audience is real. And for brands, is there any way to tell if a streamer or someone else is botting their viewership? I couldn't find anything legitimate that I would trust. There currently isn't a website out there that can credibly detect bots on Twitch. Someone build this and email it to me. I would love to see something that would be, like, more reliable than the tools we have had before to detect viewbotting. I think it would be a very interesting thing, but I mean, obviously any new thing that comes out, nobody's really going to trust as being anywhere in the 90% plus realm of being correct, you know? Are we bots, chat? If you're a corporation advertising on there, you'd sue the shit out of them. Why would anyone want to pay for fake viewers? Even if it lands sponsorships, there's a risk of massive legal trouble if sponsors find out, and you'll just be streaming to a fake audience. Because it doesn't really matter if you're streaming to a majority fake audience if sponsors are still going to pay you tens of thousands of dollars to advertise for that fake audience. They obviously wouldn't work with you in the future if you didn't have a return on investment, right? Because that's what they're looking for. But you still got your payout that first time. Dan Clancy's too busy gooning to care about bots on here. Yep. Viewbotting is about money. You're gonna get more advertiser money if your content is billed for being advertiser friendly. I really dislike viewbotting, and I wish people wouldn't do it. And it sometimes, right? It sometimes makes you feel like this guy said, where if everyone's doing it, then what's the point of not? Because you're just handicapping yourself. And I guess from my perspective, it's like, well, I've continuously handicapped myself since the beginning, so what's one more, I guess? Woman claims Smoothie King in Michigan wouldn't serve them because her husband was wearing a Trump hoodie. Any comment, Smoothie King?
Right? This is discrimination.
Yeah, we're at Smoothie King, and they're discriminating and saying we cannot get service because Jake has a Trump service on. So we were just wanting a smoothie, and you literally looked at us, and I asked you if everything was okay. You said we don't feel comfortable serving you because of my husband's hoodie. That is discrimination.
To be fair, I would rather something like this happen than for them to fuck with someone's food and it makes someone sick. Like, it makes me happy that the people so filled with hatred are unable to contain their hatred so that they can do more damage. I'm glad that they are retarded and hateful so that we get videos like this instead of people actually being harmed. You'd like to know before you buy from them too? Yeah, absolutely. That's a very low bar.
That is illegal. That has nothing to do with us wanting a smoothie. You don't, but you don't own this. You don't own Smoothie King. Literally. Like, I'm confused. Is this a joke?
Good luck maintaining your employment. I don't care. Like, have a great day. When your company is charged, yeah, you will.
So literally, Jake's wearing his hoodie. They would not serve us because Jake's wearing a Trump hoodie. Talking about discrimination? It is embarrassing. No, what's embarrassing is that we're American citizens and I wanted to get a smoothie.
Because my manager here, she said the same thing. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Okay?
But then, hey, you know that's a crime, right?
It's not.
Discrimination is a crime.
It's not, though.
Not due to political.
Excuse me, what about when you guys said that it's not possible to be racist to white people, but you can discriminate against them? And now you're saying it's not discrimination.
Abuse, though. Not due to
You
political.
asked her what was wrong and she said that she was uncomfortable,
it's a
right or
crime.
wrong. You asked the question, she answered. Have a great day.
You feel terrible for them, but this is still a Karen off? Nah. Calling this a Karen off is to use the you stood up for yourself, therefore you're the problem. You defended yourself, therefore you're creating drama. Absolutely fucking not a Karen off. If they were told that they won't be served because they're wearing a Trump sweatshirt, that is discrimination. Now, I think it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see what happens if we return to a point where we could refuse service for any reason whatsoever. But in the year where we are not allowed to refuse service, this is the correct response.
How embarrassing. Wow.
Discrimination.
Yeah, I am going to call the police.
And I am glad that this blew up to the degree that it did, because we had a couple of different things here. We had Libs of TikTok quote retweeting herself here saying, "Incredible, the employee at Smoothie King admits that she discriminated against a couple because they are Trump supporters. Smoothie King's silence is deafening." They didn't stay silent forever though, don't worry about it.
Hi guys, it's Janai and Michelle. I'm just gonna explain what happened yesterday at Smoothie King Ann Arbor. So basically, it was really busy the whole day. It was just me and my other coworker. And basically, this couple comes in the midst of it being like super busy, so we cannot attend to them right away. We're just like, hello, we'll be with you in a moment. And they're just giving us really weird looks. And so like, we're kind of looking at them back, like, what's going on? And that's when we realized they're wearing Trump merch. And that's when my coworker says to me, like, that, like, this is making me uncomfortable. Like, this is weird. Like, because mind you, it was really the day right after Black History Month. It
was the day right after Black History Month. What are we even doing, man? What are we even doing?
And that's when Torta asked us if there was an issue, and
she just called her a torta. She's just like, I'm just gonna be casually discriminatory once again while trying to explain myself.
That's when my coworker said, like, yeah, we're uncomfortable because of your sweater, of your husband's sweater, and she was taking an order on the headset for the drive-through, and then so that's why I was doing most of the talking, because, you know, she was attending to the customer, so that's why, like, yeah, like, we are uncomfortable. And then that's when he immediately gets loud. As you can see, guys, in my video, we're just saying, like, yeah, like, we're uncomfortable, blah 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 blah, and then he immediately gets loud, like, discrimination, you're discriminating against us.
Well, yeah, he'd be correct. He'd be correct. And it's like, when you see someone and you're like a barista and they're wearing something you don't like, you are entirely entitled to be like, I don't like what they're wearing and I don't like that person. You can do you, but you are not entitled to then do things to that person. And in current year, you can't say, I don't like you, get out. You have to serve them regardless, which makes this discrimination. If we had freedom of association and we could deny service for any reason whatsoever, I would say there'd be no issue, but we don't live in that world. So here they say, as a brand, Smoothie King is committed to ensuring our stores are a place free of discrimination of any kind, where every guest and team member is treated with care and respect. Following an investigation into an incident involving a guest who was refused service at a franchise location in Michigan yesterday, the franchise owner has taken immediate action, and the 2 employees involved are no longer with the business. Both the franchise owner and Smoothie King Corporate have reached out to the guest several times to apologize and will continue to follow. Thanks, Smoothie King. And then someone said, is this acceptable? Why are there so many bigots in your company? And this is somebody quote retweeting the video saying, I own a Smoothie King as well, and I wouldn't have served them either. Bye-bye. And then they post the address of that Smoothie King. I don't know how they figured out which Smoothie King he owned. That's fucking internet autism for you. That's crazy. And then if we go back to Smoothie King's profile here, go to the Smoothie King profile, they put out another statement. So that one that I just read was 22 hours ago. And then 17 hours ago, they posted black text on pink background. As a brand, Smoothie King is committed to ensuring our stores are a place free of discrimination of any kind, where every guest and team member is treated with care and respect. Following an investigation into an incident involving a guest who was refused service at a franchise location in Michigan yesterday, the franchise owner has taken immediate action and the 2 employees involved are no longer with the business. Both the franchise owner and Smoothie King Corporate have reached out to the guest several times to apologize and will continue to follow up. The local owner is also taking further action and enforcing mandatory retraining for all employees that outlines our guest experience standards. It's very interesting that these people have been used to making up microaggressions for the last decade and getting people in trouble so that they feel that they are entitled to be unironically discriminatory and get away with it. Smoothie King gonna get deposed at this rate? And Smoothie King has some good fucking smoothies. I've had their smoothies before, you know?
Let me explain to you guys this in simple English, okay? Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see how they're using them now. Imagine how they would use them a year from now if they had more of these.
While he's not wrong, the dark clown inside of me wishes to see leftists defending having nuclear weapons as a human right. Let's see. Tim Tebow exposes massive amount of child pornography. What? Isn't Tim Tebow a football guy? Isn't this a football man's? What? The number is not 57,000, it's over 89,000. We're losing the battle and we're losing the war. Boys and girls are suffering for it. Why aren't these people being arrested? He's been doing this for a while now. I don't know anything about sports ball people.
Holly, Ranking Member Durbin, distinguished members of the committee, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor and really a privilege and humbling to be here with all of you, and Miss Julia, Miss Stacia, Yasmin, and Miss Jane. It really is humbling and feel unworthy to be sitting beside all of you, so thank you so much for your work. As you mentioned, I'm so blessed to be a part of the Tim Tebow Foundation, and we exist to bring faith, hope, and love to those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour of need. But to really sum it up, it's to fight for people that can't fight for themselves. And I believe that's exactly why we're here today. Several years ago, we were finishing a leadership meeting, and I looked at Camille, our VP of Anti-Human Trafficking and Child Exploitation, and she had a very sober look on her face. And I said, Camille, what is it? What's breaking your heart? And she wrote down the number 20,000. And I said, Camille, 20,000 what? And she said 20,000 boys and girls. That's the best guess of what law enforcement can see in rape and abuse images, but yet they're categorized as unknown, unidentified. So that led us to a meeting in Lyon, France with HSI, FBI, Interpol, Europol, NICMIC, Google, ONIMI, and 18 other countries to find out, okay, what actually is the closest thing to the truth? And it wasn't 20,000. It was 57,000 boys and girls in the ICSA database that have yet to be identified, and that led us to Renewed Hope 1, 2, and 3, which identified over 1,100 boys and girls, and over 550 of them have been safeguarded so far. And right now, 30 minutes away at C3, the Cyber Crime Center, which is just so many of the best investigators and agents that America has to offer. They really are incredible. We just came from there, and I just want to thank them because they are the tip of the spear and the best of the best. And right now, the biggest operation ever in the fight against child exploitation is taking place with 30 countries, 34 agents.
This kind of reminds me of when we were reading about how there was some sort of program set up under the Biden administration for like children to call some hotline if they had been like trafficked and they were in trouble. And then just had nobody there to man the phone lines, so any children that called, basically, it was worthless. And then, under the Trump administration, we, like, actually started finding some of those children. I, like, vaguely remember when we were talking about that last year. That and the suicide line, yes.
94 investigators and victim identification specialists, and hopefully it will be one of the biggest operations ever in history. The problem is that the number now is not 57,000. With all of the work that all of these people and amazing law enforcement agents and nonprofit NGOs are doing all around the world, the number is not 57,000 like we said 2 years ago. It's over 89,000. We are losing the battle and we are losing the war, and boys and girls are suffering for it. And to give you an idea of the scope of what's happening in America, there's a red dot map right over there over my right shoulder, and that's just a 6-month screenshot of the US. And every red dot that is on there is someone that is downloading, sharing, or distributing child rape images, almost all under the age of 12. And there's over 330 of them just in that 6-month screenshot. And we know that 55 to 85% of them are also hands-on offenders, and we know that your average offender has 13 victims in their lifetime. The scale of harm right here in America is, to a certain extent, hard to comprehend. But that's why we're here. And when you knock down one of those doors, you also have no idea how many boys and girls you're going to find. From Operation Renewed Hope 1, one of the doors that was knocked down, when they went in and seized his computer, they found that he also had raped 30 other boys and girls in that neighborhood.
What the fuck?
So there's a lot of work to do. And Ranking Member Durman, you're right. We have to be able to act. A little over a year ago, I was at one of our protection centers, and a protection center has extra security because there's still a bounty and a price on these girls and young women's lives. And I was walking through the counseling rooms, and I walk up to one of the counseling rooms, and it's this beautiful couch, and it's got teddy bears and toys and children's books in it. And right behind the couch, there's a window. And right behind the window is the wall, and it's the edge of the protection center. I look up to the top of the wall, and it's the razor wire all the way around the top. And I'm just looking at this picture, and it's a surreal picture because inside, those girls are gonna be cherished and loved and protected and cared for, but on the outside, they went through an earthly form of hell. And I'm standing there looking at this picture, and one of our team members comes and whispers in my ear as I'm looking at this picture. And he said, man, isn't it such a thin line between tortured and treasured? And he was right. It is a thin line between tortured and treasured. And you are that thin line. And all of you are that thin line, but we have to have more people on that line, and we have to do a whole lot more, and we have to do it faster, because every day we wait, they're suffering, they're crying, and I believe right now many of them are praying that we would respond. But how are we really going to respond? Because I ultimately also believe that this is what we're called to do. And what is calling me, and in my opinion, the best definition is an urgent and divine invitation to accept responsibility for a particular task. But the question is, will we actually accept the responsibility of caring for these boys and girls and truly protecting them, or are we just going to continue to talk about it? Because there's so much we can do, but the question is, will we? Thank you for having me, and thank you for letting me.
I was like the longest. He yaps like I do. I was like, no punctuation. This seems like a really good foundation, though. I mean, hopefully there's not going to be some, like, seedy underbottom like that happens in so many other foundations like this. But he seems to genuinely fucking care and has racked up information on his side. So hopefully his organization can help with all of these abuses to children ceasing. Hopefully. Oh, I thought this was really interesting. It's a super fucking old clip. Super fucking old clip. Brings up a good point. Tim's in a room full of pedophiles asking them to stop being pedophiles and to help him protect kids they're abusing. Tim's a good guy, but how does nobody find this crazy? I just find, like, what our politicians aren't willing to do crazy consistently. Like, how there's even massive support for, like, the SAVE Act, and they can't even pass that. It becomes so obvious that they are self-interested and do not give a single fuck about the American people. But then once you reach that conclusion, it kind of becomes very glowy to continue the train of thought, you know? Like, so this guy, David Brody, said, when it comes to striking Iran, Donald Trump has been consistent for 47 years. Look at this clip from October 1980 when he called for military intervention to free American hostages taken during the Iranian Revolution. FYI, during his 2016, 2020, and 2024 presidential campaigns, he consistently said multiple times that Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
When you get the respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror. And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time. I think we've lost the opportunity.
Essentially, back during the Iranian Revolution in 1979, this is a clip from 1980, he's saying that when they took American hostages, we should have just bombed the fuck out of them. We should have gone in there, we should have gotten the troops back who were taken as hostages, and we should have just obliterated them. And I think people forget that there's a difference between, or actually rather, the two choices aren't just forever war versus never going to the sandbox for any reason ever. There's actually a secret hidden third choice, which is just bomb the fuck out of them until they never touch anything American again. And that seems to be what Donald Trump has been advocating for since the Iranian Revolution the first time. Your best interpretation of this Iran action is that Trump is finishing off the remainder of the Forever Wars, attempting to actually put it all to an end and let the more moderate Islamic countries control the region. I don't know. Well, it'll yet to be seen if it's the correct response or not, but it's what he decided to do. So I saw this one picture going around, and I saw it posted several times, and I just ignored it. Because I was like, oh, it's one of those, like, food review influencers. You know, he looks very soy. He's probably, like, mainly a vegetarian but decided to eat meat. Not a big deal. I don't really care. And I don't care about food review influencers. And then I saw this post that said, can't believe the Burger King CEO just burger mogged the McDonald's CEO with more aura than any corporate moid has ever had. Bro is frame dominant with a Whopper. It's over for the golden arches. And I was like, hold up, wait a minute. That was the fucking McDonald's CEO? There's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. Because, like, if these are the CEOs, then yeah, it looks like the Burger King CEO unironically eats and enjoys burgers. And it looks like the McDonald's CEO is in the middle of an interrogation and is being forced to eat a burger made out of the meat of, like, his great aunt or something. Like, he just does not look like he's having a time. And to find out that they were the CEOs was fucking crazy. And then thankfully someone posted videos because I didn't know that there were videos as well. What they took videos of these burgers?
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
Look at this burger master. When he goes to take a bite, you could see the veins in his neck stretching from how big he had to open in order to take that bite. The creases of satisfaction while he's chewing. The subtle tucked pinkies under the burger to hold all of the food inside. This man eats burgers!
Not bad, right?
Only one thing missing. A napkin.
And then the McDonald's CEO.
With, you've heard about it, here it is, the big arch. This is something that we have tested.
Look at already just like how stiff and performative this guy is in comparison to the Burger King guy. Burger King guy could have been completely on a fucking script as well. But you can't tell because he's moving naturally. He's picking up a burger naturally. He's not staring into a camera. He's acknowledging people around him. He's looking at the food that he's eating. This guy looks incredibly fake. He looks dead inside. Let's not go too far. If he was dead inside, I might want to date him.
Already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next products.
It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame poppy sort of bun on it. We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious big arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, oh, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing. I don't even know how to it.
It looks so sad. Like, even in the CEO's hands, it looks so fucking sad. That's not a fucking burger, man. That is not a it looks like his napkin is already on it, bro. Please.
Tack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth.
The worst she can say is no. That is so good, he says, as his 1,000-yard stare looks off into the distance and sees his brothers getting blown up as the helicopter leaves them behind. Like, what? This is not the face of someone who just ate something they think tastes good. Never touched a burger. This guy's like, please, I wanted it to be tofu. Now I have to go to the men's room and make myself vomit.
That's a big bite for a big arch. It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's.
So bad? So it's bad? I hate his fucking little smirk here.
McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got...
How is it unlike... Okay, chat, maybe I'm retarded. How is it unlike anything else on the menu? Isn't this just the same exact thing as the Big Mac? It looks like the Big Mac. What's the difference? What is the difference?
Sort of the cheeses and the gooiness, but those crispy onions as well gives a nice texture. And of course, we've got the pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch.
I just don't believe
Big
you.
Arch.
Look at how tiny that fucking bite is, too. Versus how large the bite the Burger King guy took. This guy lying through his teeth. That tastes like shit.
And cut. I almost swallowed some of the juice.
Try it when you can get it.
I was hoping that there'd be another frame where the fries are small again. That would be really funny. Only McDonald's could make this abomination. Maybe he just eats really small bites. He looks like he takes really small bites, and he also doesn't plow his woman. He's absolutely throwing that up after the camera cuts. 100%. Versus this guy. That massive fucking bite, bro. That's crazy. The BK guy just goes in the kitchen and gnaws half a burger in one bite and goes, yum! Yummers! Japanese manga writer trying to write Americans, the CEOs would perhaps compete over who could take the manliest bite of the burger. No, that's ridiculous. Surely America cannot be like that. America can! And it is! Be the American the Japanese think you are, buddy! That's great. That's fucking great.
Here comes a new challenger.
Heard about it. Here it is, the teen burger.
Then finally here we have the UK is considering expanding the ban on incest simulation in porn to include Ageplay. Key proposed bans, if passed, pornographic images and videos depicting sexual relationships between quote-unquote step relatives. Content where adults pretend to be children, including use of children's bedrooms, school uniforms, braces, pigtails, treated equivalently to indecent images of real children. That 37-year-old woman has pigtails, you sick fuck! I genuinely don't understand this, right? Like, I would be the first one to jump on a watch-along making fun of some fucking adult baby diaper lover shit, because that's degenerate and weird and should be made fun of. But come on, man. What do you mean about banning it? It's adult content for adults. It's weird and it's sometimes creepy and the people should be made fun of if they try to normalize it. But banning it's kind of weird too. They're coming for our stepsister stuck in the dryer. Also, non-consensual intimate images, ban on screenshotting without consent. How does that work? How does that work, I guess? I don't understand that one, because, like, if you sent it to someone, I guess maybe they're talking about, like, child porn images? That's the only thing I could think of. But that should just be banned for having it, regardless if it's a screenshot or not, right? I guess they mean revenge porn? I mean, yeah, sure. That makes sense. Is the Patreon characters must consent kind of thing? I don't know, man. The bill remains under scrutiny in the Lords and requires agreement from both houses to become law. And I think it's really fucking weird that they're taking all of these steps to ban adults doing somewhat strange things in pornography when they're not doing anything about the actual rapes going on. It's like we're going to virtue signal about things that don't matter so that people think we're doing something and we won't ever have to address the grooming gangs. Imagine having to approve or deny 100+ screenshot requests per stream. Oh my god. UK Parliament voted against investigating child rape. The UK's not a real country. It can't hurt me.
You can't hurt me, Jack.
It can't hurt me, man.